year?
19th year, and 14 of being a court viewer, right?
Court observer on a daily basis.
Court observer 14 years, walking the flag 19 years. I'll tell you what, people, if you don't think that's patriotism, I'll tell you what, you just need to go back to bed and cover your head up, because you're not real people. But Ray, while I got you on here, I got something written in my notebook a little deeper in, but I kind of remembered it, so I'm going to use it right now while you're on the phone. Are you forecasting a real rough, cold winter this year?
Are you calling me the groundhog or what?
well, I'm just wondering if you're forecasting for a really cold winter.
I think it's going to be a tough one. I do, and I got a park that somebody gave me that's really heavy, and I'm ready. I figure I'm going to be out there in that cold wind and everything else, so I'm going to wear that park. I did it a few times last winter, and I said, why have I been punishing myself all these years with just a light jacket out there, Wear the parka. So I look a little silly with the hood up, and and it looks like I'm in Alaska or Antarctica, but hey,
well,
they warm.
The reason I was asking that question, I've spent a lot of time watching animals in my multiple decades on this earth, and as you so crudely pointed out to me one time, I wasn't at the back end of my 7th decade, I was at the back end of my 8th decade. You didn't add a day to my life, but you added a full decade, and that put me into a tailspin for about a week. So anyway, after all of this observation, something I noticed is that all of the wild creatures in the world grow a lot of fur in the fall getting ready for the winter. And I took a good look at you the other day, and your face is almost invisible. It's almost fully covered in Santa Claus fuzz.
Yeah, it's getting along, that beard, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I was watching old Louie and the Flagman on tape. Somebody gave me a tape, and they happened to record one of the Louie and the Flagmans. I said, boy, I had a short beard. I looked 10 years younger, which is about 10 years ago that the show was on. So I said, boy, time changes, but I just thought I'm going to let this beard grow and just see how long it could be. People think I'm one of the Oak Ridge boys, but it's just how it is.
Well, I just thought I'd take a moment to just chide you about it a little bit. I personally think that it looks rather distinguished.
Well, for a while there, all the presidents had beards. I mean, they just did.
Oh, yeah.
Beards, it's commonplace to have beards. And now, it seems everybody's got to be clean-shaven. So I just figured I'm going to do my own thing, and that's what I usually do on a regular basis. I decide to walk on Red Rock, I walk on Red Rock. I want to walk on 160, I walk on 160. Wherever my car takes me, with my magic ignition setup that you know about.
Yeah.
Nobody would be able to figure that one out.
For the listening public, Ray's car is not on life support, but it has entered the military, and it requires specific pre-flight and post-flight operations to keep it functional.
I can imagine somebody trying to steal that car, trying to figure it out. What has he done? What has that crazy bearded flag guy done to this car?
Well, the first problem is they don't realize that the magic to making it run resides in your back pocket.
That's right. And if I tried to walk into Walker's Corbin with that, they'd probably tell me it was a weapon.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they would.
They throw people out for nail cutters. For nail cutters. I'm not talking toenail cutters. I'm talking fingernail cutters.
You're kidding me.
Oh, they have them go to their car, put it in the car. You can't walk in. It's a weapon. What is that weapon? We got to figure. Yeah, it'd be a weapon if you were fighting a mouse or something like that. But Jesus, unbelievable. You got to take your shoes off at the deeps. You got to take your belt off.
Well,
it's like it's too much. And I tell Judge Walker it's too much, but it doesn't seem to matter.
I think one pair of my boots has got steel shanks in them. And so I'd beep the beeper on that, wouldn't I?
Well, Louis got the solution to the problem. He said just put a little tinfoil in your shorts and going through. Let's say when you got in there, Louis would say a lot of love.
Yeah. Well.
You know, when I heard Anthony talking about the justice system, I thought it was me talking because he was right on in what he was saying. This whole system is so corrupt. When you watch on a daily basis, you get numb to it a little bit because you expect it to happen. But when people approach Anthony outside the courthouse or me at the courthouse, the same story. The public defenders, they're disappointed in them. They don't get enough time with their lawyer, and these charges are stacked against them. In order to get a conviction, instead of just charging you with one possible crime, they'll do 5 or 6. You're so terrified you plead to something just so you can get it behind you, so you don't have a long prison sentence or whatever. And they force people, even innocent people, into pleading guilty for something just so they can get the collar, they can get the score. And when he was saying this on the radio, I said, he's right on. But we've got to do something about it. And when I say do something about it, I can affirm that this happens because I sit there every day. If I was there like once a month and I said, they'd say, oh, it's an aberration. That's not what usually happens. It happens on a regular basis. It's upsetting to me, and it's disgusting that this country we live in would let this keep going on time and time again. Just punish the people. Punish them, loot them of any money they got, and that's what keeps the motors going in Knight County and probably the rest of the country, too.
Well, I think that this thing that Anthony and his friends have started, this GoFundMe thing, to bring in the cash to one thing about it, when you go against anybody, you have got to have a bundle of cash, because you can't file any court piece of paper. You can't do a thing without a big wad of cash in your hand, which is precisely why justice is for the rich and anti-poor.
What they got on their side is they got time. And they can just keep continuing and keep getting you in the courtroom time and time again until you get so disgusted, so upset, where you stop getting a good night's sleep because you're worried. You just cannot get it settled. And innocent or guilty, they punish the people. And they keep it, the time is ridiculous, where it takes you years to get through something unless you plead guilty to something. You know, people that were charged 2 years, 3 years ago, they're still waiting for a trial date. It's not right.
Well, I know of one case that, and you do too, that started almost 3 years ago, and the trial date has just been set for September of next year. So it's going to be at about the 4-year point before it ever gets into an honest trial, and that certainly is not swift justice. And I don't know if I ever told you, Ray, but my attitude on this whole legal beagle thing is, unless there are some pretty seriously extenuating factors, if you are charged with a crime, I think you ought to have your day in court and have it over and done with in a time period not to exceed 90 days. And if you're found guilty, then your appeal, I think, also needs to be completed within an additional 90 days. And then I think the sentence needs to be carried out on the following day, which would be 6 months and 1 day from the start of it. You would begin to serve your sentence, whatever it was. I mean, if they're going to take you over to the old dump and whack you or whatever is going to happen to you, 6 months and 1 day, you need to have it happen.
Well, they tell you a speedy trial is 60 days, but they never get it within the 60. They say the courts are so full you can't get the speedy trial within 60. So they set especially in district court where the jury trials go, they'll set a trial for you a few months down the line or whatever. And if something opens up in the meantime, you should be able to jump right in because you want a speedy trial. But no, because your lawyer at that point will say, I'm not ready. And when I talked to Judge Walker on that, and I said, this is ridiculous, that here the date opens up. The guy sitting in the slammer, he wants a speedy trial. The lawyer's not ready. And she told me, and she's probably correct in what she said, if I were to force that lawyer to go to trial after he said he's not ready, any decision would be reversed by the Supreme Court because I didn't give him the extra time he needed. So the lawyers are playing a game. They don't care if their client is in jail, eating the crap they're feeding in jail, subject to MRSA or all the other diseases that are passed around when you got a lot of people in a small area. And yet the lawyers look the other way and say, we're not ready. They should be ready from day one. If it's 60 days and something opens up, they should say, we're in there. We're going to take care of it because we want justice and we want a speedy trial. It doesn't happen, lazy dog.
Well,
it's intolerable.
Lawyers make money by selling time, and they sell their time by the minute, and they have no interest in a speedy trial. They have no interest in justice. I think that's why it was such a disgrace when that bus went off the side of the mountain, a big old tour bus, and it went off the side of the mountain, and it had 2 empty seats, and everybody was killed except the driver. It was just wrote up as a terrible disgrace. It was a lawyer transportation bus, and an opportunity was there for 2 more lawyers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. It's a long rendition to what's good about lawyers on the bottom of the sea or something like that. How does it go?
Well, 99% of the lawyers have been known to be dishonest at one time or another, and they couldn't find the other one to talk to him.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I just want to point out to everybody, there is a jury trial going this week. Ron Graham is coming up, and it's a 5-day jury trial. It's in Walker's courtroom. Whether she opens the courtroom or keeps it locked, I'm not sure. But I think for jury trials, she's going to leave it open or she's in big trouble. And last week, there was a jury trial where a fellow was up on, I'll give his name because the trial is over. His last name was Palomino. He was charged with 2 counts. One was battery by a prisoner, was on another prisoner. And the second one was he had a sharpened pencil or something. They had him with a weapon. So it's ready to go to the jury. All the witnesses on the stand and everything, they're ready to have closing arguments, and the guy pleads guilty.
Really?
Unbelievable. He pleads guilty. He pled guilty to the first charge, and they dropped the second one. That was the deal. So he pleads with Judge Lane, and he says to Lane, he says, look, he said, yeah, I did it. I beat the guy up. The guy was mocking me on my atrophied hand. The guy was always assaulting me and physically abusing me, and then he spit in my face, and I could not take it. And he said, give me a break and run it concurrent with a sentence I'm doing now. And Lane gave him 19 to 48 consecutive, meaning he's going to have to do another 19 to 48. But I mean, you'd think when someone provokes a fight, the other inmate provoked the fight, and finally when he got the fight and he was the loser, who do they charge? They charged the guy who had his face spit in and was mocked and ridiculed and everything else. And then the judge adds a little more insult by sending him away for another 19 to 48.
Well, obviously the public defender did not advise that client very well, because it just on the face of it, it sounds like he could have went in front of a jury and won that hands down walking away.
If nothing else, just one person on the jury who would say, somebody spit in my face, I'd whack him too. You know?
That's right.
All you need is the one for a hung jury.
That's
they
right.
Probably wouldn't try you again.
That's right. It only takes one.
Yeah.
I've served on jury a number of times, and I was a jury foreman with an 11 to 1 vote 6 times in a running over a period of about 4 hours, and I had figured out who the one was, and that one should not have been on the jury because she had not honestly answered the questions in front of the judge at the beginning of the session. but I did not want to get her into trouble. I was planning to. I thought if I couldn't twist her around, I was gonna blow the horn on her, and I was gonna bust that trial wide open, and it would have been retried because she did lie to the judge about the ability to be honest. But when she got into the jury room, it was a whole nother story. She was anti-alcohol and pro-cop. And cop had broke a man's head pretty bad with a flashlight after driving up onto his newly seeded lawn and running into his porch. And the problem was that the guy that lived there was drunk. And because he was drunk, this lady was not going to give him the time of day. And so how I handled it, I said, well, I understand there's a feeling on this jury that that because of the man's imbibing in the alcohol, which was the initiation of this problem. But that doesn't offset the poor actions of the cop involved. But I said, because of this, I suggest that we award a monetary to handle the man's health for the rest